Welcome to the Trailblazers podcast, where real stories spark real growth and transformation begins from within. In this episode, I'm in conversation with Mithyll Dave, business coach, sales and learning strategist, speaker, and a powerful voice in digital and personal transformation. We talk about his journey into digital transformation, how to build a personal brand with clarity and confidence, and how to use AI as a support system and not a shortcut. Mithyll shares practical insights on overcoming roadblocks, simplifying sales and learning, and staying grounded through empathy, values, and self awareness. If you're a professional, a leader, or a speaker navigating change, this conversation will resonate deeply. Tune in to the Trailblazers podcast and take your next bold, inspired step forward. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode for Trailblazers podcast. Today's guest is someone who doesn't just teach growth, he designs it, lives it, and helps thousands of people experience it in real time. Mithyll Dave is a business coach, sales enabler, L&D strategist, keynote speaker, and an author and a speaker who has trained over 20,000 professionals and coached 200 plus leaders and counting. But beyond the numbers, what stands out is his ability to turn learning into real behavior change. Mithyll brings in a mix of heart and strategy, and that's the best part that I love about Mithyll. So, today we are going to talk about his journey into digital transformation, consultative selling, and SME capability building, which you do not want to miss. So, he's also an active member of the Professional Speakers Association of India, and he's also going to talk about the upcoming event PSS 2026, which he's quite excited to share about. All right, so without any further delay, I would love to have you meet Mithyll Dave. Thank you so much, Mithyll. Please.
Hi, Sandhya.
Hi, Mithyll. Great to see you.
Same here. I was excited when we'll do this podcast, the Trailblazer one. I was super excited for that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mithyll, for agreeing. And I know you have a busy, packed schedule every day. So, the wait is worth it. So, let's get started. I would love to hear from you about yourself, how you would describe. And I should admit that I'm feeling a little nervous because I know that you're the podcast expert. So having you and me being the amateur podcaster, so I would love to learn some tips and tricks from you before you leave this show. So please tell me, Madhul, what do you call yourself as?
So, Sandhya, I call myself as a brand alchemist, and as a moniker, I go by Sales Funnel Tailor. This is the a beautiful one-liner which was given to me by one of my mentor, Praveen Shekhar, who is the founding member of PSAI. That Mithyll, you are a sales funnel tailor because you view the sales funnel in no time. And I said, wow, this is awesome. So yes, so this is about me. I'm a business coach. I am a content creator. I am also the founder of Alchemy Network, and I have designed the process in such a way that it serves entrepreneurs, creators, coaches, and professional speakers to build their digital products using AI, storytelling, as well as structured business ecosystems. And I bring an experience of more than 18 years into learning and development, training, coaching, and facilitating. So that's me.
That's awesome. And the way you mentioned about weaving and tailoring, that's exactly you. And have known your work, and I'm a huge fan of your courses and all of that you do. So I've witnessed the simplicity that you bring in to whatever you're doing. So I really, really admire you for that. So before we get into the specifics of your work, I'm very, very curious to understand, like, is there a trigger that started for you to take on a new entrepreneurial journey?
I have many triggers, Sandhya. So, I mean, like if I have to say that I started as an entrepreneur, so the very first trigger was in my childhood when one of my aunt was the principal of a school, and my result day was out, and she just happened to visit our house, and she said, like, Mithil, these are very poor marks. How are you going to go ahead and do everything? I said, I just have to write checks, I'm going to do business. I don't need to study so much to do a job. I'm never going to do a job. And that was my very first trigger. Second trigger was that my father was also into sales the whole life, but he was always disappointed in me that, Mithyll, sales is something very important. You are not able to do it. And I said, I will be able to do it, but say selling or sales is a skill, and you need to have the right mentor. And experience became my mentor. And so I did a lot of mistakes, and eventually, I'll tell you one secret. My college fees I paid by making telescopes and selling to my friends and professors, as well as uh, kind of buying and selling perfumes and deos from the wholesale market to the retail, collected my fees, and that's how I did my graduation.
Oh
And
God.
because selling is something eventually became my passion and I loved it. So these
Mm,
two triggers kind of navigated me full time into the world of entrepreneurship. Yeah.
that's awesome. So I'm sure you must have had a huge fan base, especially the probably some nicknames as the perfume boy or the handsome perfume boy.
No, I was just called Maddie in my college, and
Okay.
all my friends, my close people, call me Maddie. They hardly call me Mithyll, but Maddie is something that is known, and that's why the name of my podcast, one of my podcasts, is the Digital
Ah,
Maddie Show.
oh, the digital marriage show. Okay, I wanted to ask what is the secret behind the name? Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so I know you mentioned about the selling was probably part of your DNA, I guess. So it is coming from the genes. Uh, so, how are you using your childhood experience and probably your relationship with your father? And probably you can share something about like how do you use selling experience into the digital world today?
So if I go back to my childhood, Sandhya, we live in a typical old Mumbai style house, which was the chawl, the
Yeah.
that's known very well in Mumbai. And chawl system is basically a community based system. So our building was made up of 54 families that very closely each of them used to stay in less than 300 square feet of house. So like many a times our lunch or dinner used to be in our neighbor's house. So it was like one big family. So community was something which was very important, and I learned this at the early stage of my life, that yes, humans, especially if they want to grow with the community rather than doing solo. Unfortunately, my school and all my friends in the building, they had a different school. I used to travel 8 kilometers from Matunga West to Matunga East. So I was solo. Then my sister also joined in the same school. So we were kind of like the odd man out in the building when it comes to the rest of the friends. They used to speak about their daily activities, which we couldn't resonate. And our school friends were like 8-10 kilometers away, so we couldn't spend there. So yes, that was the solo thing. So I understood solo versus community, how important community is. And the one of the best thing that you learn in community, Sandhya, is that you listen to a lot of stories.
Mm.
And selling is all about stories. And one mantra or one secret that I primarily use in selling is, I don't sell, I help people buy. I make them feel that it is their decision. Otherwise, tell me one thing. I'll give you an example here. Like Sandhya, let's assume that you have gone to an electronic store to buy a 60-inch television. Now, that salesman will constantly tell you about one brand more, but has five more brands as on the panel. And I'm always curious as to why are you just talking about this particular brand and why not the other brands? If
Mhm.
those brands are bad, why have you kept it on the panel? And if this product is good, just keep this product and then change the name to only one particular brand,
Right.
right? So are you getting more commission, or are there more incentives here? What exactly it is? And it kind of feels like forced, versus when someone says these are the five options. I will help you choose the
Mm.
right product which is suitable for you. Which do you think you will go for? The salesperson selling or helping you buy?
Right. That's awesome. I've never heard about, you know, treating selling also like a service. You're
Yes.
actually understanding the customer needs and helping them to choose the right product that suits their needs. That's brilliant. And the way you put it, no wonder you have the nicknames and all of that. So it's coming all the way from childhood. So beware, audience. So Midil is definitely going to sell you either of his products. So definitely going to happen because each of us needs something or the other in this digital world right now, right? So that's great, Midil. So one other question that comes to me when I talk about digital marketing and branding. I know you have a lot of customers who are coaches, who are consultants, and also like entrepreneurs and companies also that you cater to. What is your mantra? Like, how do you um, understand their needs and how you custom tailor to their specific needs?
So what does the tailor do? It asks a lot of questions. It takes a lot of notes.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I have seen, Sandhya, in the world of coaches, because again, you are also an ICF coach, and in the world of coaches and consultants, there is something called as shallow listening, and there is something called as deep listening. So the more you listen deeply, and the more you ask questions, the more you will understand the opposite person's need. And then it becomes very easy to provide the solution from your entire ecosystem, that
Right.
this is the best thing that can solve this XYZ problem, or it will kind of give you the X results that you are looking for. So, three things that you should have: one is active listening, two, you should have the capability to ask a lot of questions, but the most important that a lot of people don't have is an ecosystem. So when
Mhm.
you have an ecosystem, you have a plethora of different products which you can offer to them. So that's the power.
That's awesome. So, is your SME program is going to be like something which is completely custom tailored to the client or the customer, and then you bring them into your ecosystem? Could you describe more about your SME program that you're very, very popular about?
Surely, Sandhya. So the SME stands for Self-Made Entrepreneur Program, and this is one thing I always, the first generation entrepreneurs, they usually call themselves as the self-made entrepreneurs. And I said, okay, it has a lingo with the small and medium enterprise also, so SME goes in that way. But this SME program works on the principle that I built after observing and working with more than 80,000 entrepreneurs and working with a lot of brands and understanding various sales funnels of so many products globally. And it's called as a five pillar principle that I use. The five pillar stands for: content is the first pillar, traffic is the second pillar, lead generation and nurturing is the third pillar, sales and marketing is the fourth one, and community building is the fifth one.
Mm,
So, based on these five principles, five pillars, I build the entire SME program, the curriculum, in a way that even though it has some set frameworks and flow, it is still customizable based on who is my mentee
okay.
and for what duration they are coming. So, like, there are people who come for 3 months and there are people who come for a year. The SME program is a 6 months program, but there are people who wants to have a fast track. So
Yeah.
we do it in 3 months also. But I personally know it's an overwhelming process, because business is not like a plug and play. Of course, it's debatable. A lot of people will say or comment below. But if you want to actually build the foundation of the business, which takes you to a very long time, then at least 3 to 6 months is something that you should give, so that the foundation is set. Nowadays, that I have seen, people do a lot of execution first, but they don't do kind of research as well as creating systems and process. They jump on the third step, and that's where they fumble a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Midil. Another question that pops up to me as you're describing it: do the clients have to be tech savvy like you? Or do you have any prerequisite courses that you ask them to take so that even they can understand the terminology that you use? I'm just kidding. I know you have a lot of courses. So, could you share a little bit more about? The other day, I was looking at your page, and there were like so many courses that you have built. I mean, like, when did you do all that? Like, I struggle myself to even put like one or two courses out there. But tell me more about your journey of course building and how you had been helping thousands and thousands of students.
So, Sandhya, one thing that I learned from my early mentors is don't wait for perfection. Release version 1 of your course. When you release version 1 of the course, you will get some X feedbacks, good ones, and some Y things to change feedbacks. Then ingrain all those changes and launch again your version 2. And that's how, over a period of time, definitely certain things will work as per the system and the demand in the market, and certain things will not. So you need to keep on tweaking it. The general issue with creating courses is people make it once and then they forget it. No, you need to keep on tweaking inside it, modify inside it, and you need to have a to and fro communication with your end users, because you created the courses for them. And if you're not listening to them and you're not modifying it, what's the point? So one thing primarily that I do, Sandhya, is whenever anyone, uh, after my virtual coffee call, is I do something called as a business roadmap and strategy call. uh,
Okay.
it's a paid one, but it's a very I will say the entry point of the whole ecosystem, where they and me both understand what exactly you want. And basis on that, we then see which course program, live coaching, or group cohorts is important and will serve the purpose. Otherwise, in fact, many a times I have said, this is it, you don't need anything from me more. And I just show them the next path, that you go here, just do this, you are sorted. And they say like, but Mithil, you are not selling me anything, and none of your courses. Well, it's not needed. Why do I sell you something and then you come back and say, oh, it was a misselling done, or I don't want a negative review?
Yeah.
And if money making was the only objective, I would have done it in a very different way, and would have been in a much, I am in a much better position right now. But then the most important for me is to have a peace of mind and a very good sleep at night.
That's
And
so
that's
well
important.
said. That's so well said, Madhul. And I really appreciate um, the the sincerity that you have, and I've personally witnessed that you don't try to sell if it's not needed, and it's very rare to find a person like you, I should say, especially being into sales and marketing. They constantly try to like buy, but you're not like that. I mean, like, I don't think it's needed, Sandhya. So, like, yeah, I've seen that in you, and I really, really admire you for that. So one
Thank
other
you.
thing I wanted to really talk about is your book. Um, do you have it? Do you want to show it to the audience, or maybe I'll put in the link there. But what inspired you to write a book in this space? Tell me your journey about it.
Okay, so the book writing, a lot of my students, okay, I'll it's gonna be funny, but I always had one thought process, that my work should speak, my actions should speak, and my knowledge would speak. And I didn't focus much on, let's say, dressing or doing all kind of show offs, showing my house, showing my car, showing my income, that I'm having this. And somewhere people also wants that, but it doesn't go, or I don't resonate with that much. So my private life is my private life, and I don't want to show whether I drive a Mercedes or I drive a Nano. It's okay. Even the founder of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, he also drives his old Chevy car, and it's okay, absolutely fine. So what happens is, over a period of time, I said, okay, my knowledge is the most important thing, but how do I build more authority? And when you become an author, the author itself is, the spelling itself is part of the authority.
Ah,
And so you became uh, an authority in your subject matter expertise when it comes to writing a book. But then I said, I just don't want to write a book and then just forget about it. So I said, why don't I create something like a playbook, that something that will help a lot of my mentees, and to even those people who may not afford an SME program, but at least they can afford a 500 rupees product, right? And so the five principles which I spoke about, Sandhya. So the very first principle, content marketing. So the very first book, The Brand Alchemist. So the part one is content marketing. Then will be, so it's a series of five books.
okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. That's so great. And I have never heard about author authority. Damn, I didn't even think about it for this many years. See, this is the reason why I carry a pen whenever I speak to you. I simply note all the nuggets that you just keep like giving out. So thank you for the free nuggets. Uh, so next round, I would love to have some rapid fire round with you. I know this is coming as a surprise. So are you ready, Mithyll?
Looking forward for it.
All right. So I know you love to travel, and I
Yes.
know that you are also a foodie, especially, you're brought up in Mumbai, so I can't expect otherwise. So what's your go-to comfort food? The one thing that you actually cook?
Okay. Inviting you and all your listeners. I make very good bale, and I
Wow,
make very good pizzas, homemade pizzas. I mean, people exclusively come only for that. Yeah,
awesome. So the next meeting is going to happen with pizzas and bail. All right.
absolutely.
So next question. When you're meeting a new client for the first time, what is the first thing you do other than your presentation preparation?
Two things. You asked one, but I'll give you two things. One, I observe a lot.
Okay.
And two, I do a thorough research of everything which the client is not saying, because many a times they only have one thing. But what if, as I told you, ecosystem. So
Right.
you need to understand the end to end. And that's how, Sandhya, when we uh, I came to Hyderabad for even La Italia, the first thing that we did, we went to a factory and we saw all the parts. Why?
Right.
Because each thing has a story. And this something which when brings on the table, I don't need to do, I mean, my presentation doesn't speak, but it's what I'm going to bring it to the table is what going to make the person feels confident that my brand is now into the right hands.
Yeah. Awesome. And I witnessed it, so I really vouch for it. All right. So the next question. What's something small and silly that instantly makes your day better?
Any of the devotional rap songs, and maybe a small dance.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that you were a dancer. So I'm going to check it out in February.
sure.
One thing people assume about you that is not true at all.
I don't want to hurt anyone, but someone said, uh, you look wise, but are you?
Are you hurt?
No,
It's
I'm
not
not.
for them, but are you hurt by?
No, I am not. I am not. Because definitely the one who said also comes with a lot of observation, comes with a lot of experience.
Hmm,
And uh, I've learned one thing is called as paradigms or perceptions, and everyone is right.
right.
So it's okay. You don't need to defend.
Okay. All right. So this or that, Early morning energy or late night brilliance? What is your secret?
Depends upon for what I'm doing.
Okay. So for
Yeah,
work,
early morning.
okay. Coffee meeting or walking meeting?
Coffee meeting, any given point of time.
Oh, I know you love coffee.
Yeah.
So, audience, even if you take Medil to Nilofer Cafe, the popular one in Hyderabad, which is usually famous for their chai or tea, Medil ordered a coffee. Like, I thought you were going to try tea here, but he ended up ordering coffee, which again is quite good. So, I know you're a coffee person.
Yeah.
Slides or no slides?
No slides.
Okay. AI tools or handwritten notes?
Handwritten notes.
Long drive alone or fun time having with friends?
Long drive alone.
All right. You're you're kind of like me, except for the coffee thing. Yeah. Okay. Hardest thing for you to let go, Madil, personally or professionally?
My principles.
Hmm. Obviously. If your younger self saw you today,
Mhm.
what would he pat you on your back for?
For all the things that I have done today till
That's
now.
awesome. That's awesome. Everyone should pat on your back for that. 10 years from now, where do you see yourself?
A better version of myself, serving larger audience, larger community, and making my family proud, making myself proud, and having some close, good friends like you to be a part and doing much better for the society.
That's so well said. Thank you so much, Madhu. So, what's one tiny joy that keeps you grounded on bad days?
A coffee talk with my wife in the morning or late evening, and a Roblox game with my daughter.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So, I know you're a family man, except that you don't work for the Secret Service. So,
Shrikant.
right. So, when you coach leaders and founders, tell me what is a recurring blind spot that you have observed?
Personal branding
Hmm.
and a complete proper example from the Who Moved My Cheese change management. They are very much scared of change, especially with the AI revolution.
Hmm. Okay. So they still worry a lot more than before, you think?
Yes, because they are overwhelmed, Sandhya. They don't know because every day new tool comes.
Hmm.
Every day some influencer says something else. What to pick up? And till the time they learn something new tool, it becomes obsolete. Something new comes, and they keep juggling between it. And
Yes.
we need to come back to the foundation. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where this is a unique space where we need people like you, Madhu. I can completely see. And, otherwise everyone is so lost. And the main thing is not just lack of time, but not knowing that creates that anxiety and that really takes away the energy where you need to focus on, right? So it's a missed opportunity to say that. Yeah,
Totally, I agree with you.
yeah. All right. So before we close, I really want to talk about another topic which is very, very near and dear to me and to you as well. I know, which is speaking. Nothing more than, nothing else gives you that joy. I can see that. And I've heard a lot of speeches that you have given, a lot of speaking sessions that I have joined when you were speaking as well. So let's talk about PSAI, Professional Speakers Association of India. In your own words, what made you join and how are you experiencing the entire journey so far with PSAI?
I am super excited Sandhya, the journey has just started, and it's all because of one person, Dr. Saurabh Patil. I'm grateful to him that he introduced me to the world of PSAI. I never knew before joining PSAI that I was actually a keynote speaker. I was speaking. What I felt was I'm a podcaster. I am a content creator. I am creating courses. I am going to conferences and I'm delivering maybe physical webinars, is what I thought. But then later I knew no, that's actually professional speaking that you're doing. The 45-minute slot that you used to get and paid for it was actually a keynote speaking. Even though blindly I was following certain structures, but I didn't knew that those were actually the real structures of a keynote speaker that you're supposed to follow. And yes, so one thing that excited me is what Saurabh said to me when we were just having an evening discussion together in a restaurant. And he said a lot about PSS 2025, which happened in Mumbai, Feb 2025. And he was so high, and I helped him in his book and everything as a book mentor also. So he was just giving a feedback like, I launched this, I did this, I did that, it happened this, we had foreign delegates and all that. And I was like, oh, this is something awesome, this is an amazing community. So without even experiencing PSS, Sandhya, I just said I want to be a part of it. And immediately next month, March 2025, 18th March 2025, I joined PSAI. And yes, looking forward, in next 2 months, I met the amazing president of our association, Esther. And she also showed the vision of how the PSI is going forward. Then I happened to meet the one of the founding members, Praveen, in Mumbai. And that's how my trajectory towards professional speaking went very high. So he became a catalyst, eventually became part of his speaking bureau, Kural. Met Chennai chapter, who's the first chapter of PSAI. Met a lot of amazing people, and I can now say I will get some lifelong friends from this association. Then met Mumbai chapter, eventually became part of the PSS marketing team. Started just as a little help and then eventually became an integral part of it. I still think I am. And then happened to become one of the support system for the PACI talk show, because I bring my podcast experience, so that helped the current team. And I'm helping Yabijan, who is the education head, as well as two of my co-host, Primrose and Vijay, who are into PACI talk show. And then the amazing five people who are taking this further into PSS marketing: you, me, the great Vinay, Midhu, and even Venki. So this is all about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think we need to have a separate podcast just to talk about that. Otherwise, we can go on and on talking about it. So I'm
Totally.
super,
Totally.
super excited. And I think I narrowly missed meeting you. I wish you were there at PSS 2025. That is where my journey with PSAI started. And I cannot really talk anything less because this is one association where I started meeting amazing people. One of them is you, of course. So, all right. So, before we close, Medal, I would like to keep my podcast shows very short. So, definitely going to have another episode for sure very soon with you. So, we'll continue our discussions there. But before we close, I would love to hear from you. What is your message for anyone who think personal branding is not their strong point and they need clarity and they feel that they're lost? What is your message to them?
So Sandhya, one sentence that I always it is there in front of me, even on my monitor. I have stuck it, and it's ask and it shall be given to you. So when you ask, you get everything. So don't be afraid to ask. I understand there are certain skills or there are certain subjects that we don't understand. But then there are subject matter experts. Just ask them. And your heart will tell you whether that person is genuine or not. And again, all the people who are listening to this episode, if you feel I am genuine, good. If you feel I'm fake, still good. Absolutely fine. But your heart will say that yes, this is the right thing. This is the right person who will help. And take it as an experience and ask a lot of questions, note it down, do a thorough research, but be keep yourself away from one very important thing, and that is something called as SOS, shining object syndrome. Don't run behind the next shiny thing. Know what you are and bring that to the table. And if you want to stand out from the rest of the people, the only secret is be consistent. That's it. Nothing else.
You know what? You should start writing another book with all these acronyms like author, authority, SOS, and then SME for many, many years. Out of my work experience, I never even thought that it also means self made entrepreneur. It always meant subject matter expert to me. So, so many nuggets that you have given to me today. I'm like, I wish you'll start writing a new book with all this, just terminology. Wow.
Thank you.
But
Thank you so much.
wonderfully said.
One
Yeah,
thing that I love is playing with acronyms. So the very first thing that I make is acronyms and then start building the concept from there.
that's awesome. That's such a cute way to narrate what the client is looking for so that it resonates so well with them, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, what can I expect more than the selling expert here that I have in front of me? But thank you so much, Madhul. It was awesome having a heartfelt conversation with you. And is there any closing remark that you would like to share with the audience?
As we all know that Sandhya is an amazing coach and trailblazers, there is a mantra that she uses, rise to the top. The journey is like mountaineering, the entrepreneur journey. There are times where you will hit a plateau. There are times where you'll see the valley, but always keep your eyes, like what Sandhya always says, keep your eye to the summit, and you will eventually reach there. So yes, just do that, nothing else.
See, this is why I need a branding expert like you in this journey. And thank you so much for doing that. Wow. Keep your eyes on the summit and then keep following your heart. Awesome. That's so good. Midil, thank you so much for your insights, your energy, and the way you bring both clarity and compassion into everything that you do. Thank you so much. I know your journey is nothing less of a struggle or anything that you faced. So that is going to come up in the next episode for sure. I know you have been a trailblazer yourself by by not following the traditional route, but you invented your own path, and you have so many students and coaches and entrepreneurs who go through your program and who win all kinds of victories and be successful at the end of their journeys. So I'm wishing you more and more success. And it's an awesome, experience for me to having met you. And I'm so grateful that we connected in this space. I really appreciate all the support that you give, not only to me, but many other entrepreneurs and also to speakers and coaches. So thank you so much for everything that you do. With that, I would love to say that if today's conversation nudged you towards building your own personal brand, I would love for you to connect with Medil without any delay. Take that first small step, and it's enough to put you in the right place. So, thank you so much, Medil. And stay inspired, stay curious. If you like this episode, please share your comment and keep watching the Trailblazers podcast. Thank you so much, Medil. Have a lovely day.
Thank you so much, Sandhya.
Yeah,
Bye
thank you.
everyone.
Bye.